Hey everybody, this is Natalie from Power Moon Tarot, and I'm really excited because I haven't done one of these videos before. And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to do a full moon in Aquarius reading. We have a full moon in Aquarius on August 22nd at 5:01 a.m. Pacific time and 8 a.m. Eastern time. And this full moon, I'm going to show you guys the astrology chart that and the aspects that the moon is making on this full moon, and talk to you a little bit about the astrology of this full moon and what I can intuit from looking at the chart. Okay, and we'll also talk about a couple other aspects that are happening right now that are not a part of the full moon, but nonetheless are happening at the same time. They're not making an aspect to the full moon, is what I'm saying. And then we're gonna do a tarot reading to basically look at what the tarot is telling us about this full moon, okay? So if you wanna skip directly to the reading, you can. There'll be timestamps below, but for those of you that are interested in the astrology of this full moon, and of course, you know, this full moon is in Aquarius, so wherever Aquarius falls in your birth chart and your horoscope is where this is the house that's going to be illuminated for you. I'm a Libra rising, so this full moon is falling into my 5th house. And, you know, it's really cool because I'm doing experimental stuff like making this video and being creative in new and different ways. And I was up at 5 a.m. this morning actually figuring out how to try to live stream. And so, you know, being very like taking some risks and being very industrious with when it comes to my creativity, okay? And that's how this full moon is really activating for me. But it depends on where it falls in your chart and what aspects it's making in your chart, which is obviously more than we can go into in this video. But a little bit about this full moon. So this full moon is at 29 degrees of Aquarius, and it's in the Anaritic degree, or what we call the critical degree in astrology, just saying that, you know, it's the end of the road, right? So there's 30 degrees in every sign of the zodiac. And when you get into those final degrees of any sign, we call it like a critical degree. And it's not anything bad per se. It's just, there's some type of completion happening. And at least I don't interpret it as bad. It's just like my sun in Taurus is actually in an Anaritic degree of Taurus. So, you know, it's just really getting the lessons before it changes signs. And what's interesting about this full moon, and I'm gonna show you the chart here in a second, and if you can see the chart, you can see that the moon and Jupiter look like they're in a conjunction over there in the right-hand side. You can see the glyph for the moon, and then you can see the glyph for Jupiter on the right-hand side of the chart there. And this full moon is not making a lot of aspects to anything else in this chart besides Jupiter. We'll talk about that in a second, but before I dive into more of the technical information, this is the 2nd full moon in Aquarius, and normally we just have one full moon, but every once in a while, every once in a blue moon, which is why we call it, when there's 2 full moons in one sign, we call that a blue moon. So once in a blue moon, this would be the 2nd moon, full moon in Aquarius. We had one at the beginning of Leo, which was at the end of July, and now we're having another full moon at the end of Leo season, and so we call that a blue moon. And it'd be interesting to look at, you know, I think the full moon in Aquarius at the beginning of Leo was on July 24th, and then this full moon is on August 22nd. And so it'd be interesting to look at what happened over the last month and see how things have changed for you and what the themes have been for you during this period. And so now to kind of get back to the chart. So one thing you may notice about this chart when you look at it is that the moon really isn't making many aspects it's not making really any oppositions, any trines, any sextiles. it's really just conjunction Jupiter. And there is some stuff online talking about how, oh, this is great, we're blessed, this is amazing, the moon is conjunction Jupiter, because Jupiter is, you know, a planet of blessings. It represents the guru, it expands things for better or for worse, but it expands on things. It talks about that higher learning and higher knowledge that comes through with Jupiter. Jupiter brings good luck, and, you know, the whole thing around Jupiter is go big or go home, right? So, interestingly, with this moon, it is conjunction Jupiter. And so a lot of people are saying, oh, this looks really good. But when you look at the aspect, it's separating. So Jupiter is actually separating from the moon, or the moon is separating from Jupiter, is what you would say. And meaning that the moon is the faster moving planet, and it's already made its aspect to Jupiter, and it's going to be moving on and moving into Pisces like later in the afternoon on August 22nd. So the moon is separating from Jupiter, which just means that it's already made its conjunction to Jupiter and been there, done that. Is it still a good aspect because we have moon conjunction Jupiter? Sure, it's still a good aspect, but I also think that it's not as great maybe as everybody, like, you know, the glory days, right? Leo season, the summertime, like we're kind of like separating from that and moving on into Virgo season now. And I can't even, it's so funny because I can't even really think about this full moon as being a full moon in Aquarius. My brain keeps wanting to tell me, oh, this is a full moon in Virgo, which of course it's not a full moon in Virgo. We're not in Pisces season in which the full moon in Virgo happens, but there's so much Virgo energy that is building right now. And we have a grand Earth trine happening. So if you look at the chart and you look at what looks like it's making a big triangle in the center of the chart, that's a grand, what you can see there is a grand trine in Earth. So there's a grand trine that involves Mars, Mercury, Pluto, and Uranus in Earth signs, Virgo, Taurus, and Capricorn. And so there's a lot of Earth energy that's available to us. And, you know, with Jupiter, it's like, let the good times roll, right? But because the moon is separating from Jupiter, it's like, well, the good times have already rolled. And now it's time to kind of get serious. The grand trine isn't making any, the grand trine in Earth is not making any aspect to the moon, but nevertheless, it's still in the chart of the full moon. And so I think it's something that we should pay attention to. We had another grand trine in 2021 in Earth, and that was on February 28th. So if you look back at February 28th and what was happening at the end of February this year and what is currently happening now, you can see maybe how that grand trine in Earth has been applying to your chart. And to me, what that's saying is that Earth energy is more readily available. So grounding, stability, commitment, duty, all of these things are more available. Now, because this grand trine involves Uranus in Taurus, and Uranus in Taurus just went retrograde on August, Uranus went retrograde on August 19th. You know, Uranus throws a monkey wrench in it a little bit and asks us to look at, yeah, we have this beautiful grounding Earth energy available to us, but how are we going to use that? What's the plan? What can we commit to? What do we not know? What information do we not know, right? And hindsight is 2020, okay? So yeah, so there is this grand trine available at the time of the lunation of the full moon, but it's also like what is available, most readily available is Earth energy at this time, although Aquarius is an air sign, okay? And the reason why I felt like kept calling it the Virgo full moon is because there is quite a lot of Virgo energy in the sky right now. We've got Mars and Mercury in the early degrees of Virgo, or actually they're in the mid degrees of Virgo right now. Mars is at 14 degrees Virgo and Mercury is at 18 degrees Virgo, and tomorrow, or not tomorrow, but on Sunday, like, 6 or 7 hours after the full moon on Sunday morning, the sun is going to move into Virgo, and pretty soon, within a couple days, that sun is going to catch up to the Mars-Mercury conjunction in Virgo. So that is why, and it's really funny because in my tarot readings lately, I've been channeling a ton of Virgo energy. And if you guys saw one of my readings where I said, what signs are going to have big love energy coming in the next 6 weeks, and Virgo was, one of those signs that came up. So was Aquarius, okay? And you can tell, like, we've had 2 full moons in Aquarius, and, Saturn is in Aquarius, Jupiter is retrograding in Aquarius right now. So there's a lot of Aquarius energy in the sky as well. Currently, the one outlier you can see in this chart in the lower left-hand corner is Venus in Libra. Now, Venus in Libra is not making any aspect to this full moon, and she's just kind of out there on her own, already forging her territory into Libra, and she's trining Saturn, talking about, supportive relationships, and how that can lay the foundation for all of this earth energy that is out there right now. With so much Virgo in the sky, I think it's really interesting because, we have Mars and Mercury in Virgo, and a lot of people that watch my channel, I've noticed lately, have Mars in Virgo, and I do too as well. My Mars is in the early degrees of Virgo. And, all of us are having Mars returns, which happens every couple of years, as Mars will return to your birth chart, Mars, within a 2 or so year period. So a lot of people if you have any Virgo in your chart right now, and you're going to have the Sun, Mars, and Mercury all hitting those planets that you have in Virgo. And also if you have planets in Pisces or Sagittarius or Gemini, you're going to have squares, you're going to have oppositions, etc. So interesting time for the mutable signs. And what I see here on this full moon chart is, again, to me, this feels very Virgo dominant. So like I said, I want to almost say like it's a Virgo full moon, but it's really not. And I think, Aquarius Leo is separating from that Jupiter energy. So, we're moving out of Leo season into Virgo season, and the moon is moving out of Aquarius very rapidly and very quickly after it makes its opposition to the sun in Leo. So, that has already happened in my view. And what I see as this, Mars-Mercury conjunction, trining Uranus and trining Pluto, is that, there's going to be a lot of attention to the facts. Facts matter, details matter, and people might be kind of irritable as well when people make mistakes or things don't go according to plan, because there's a real sense, with Uranus, of course, we can't plan for anything, but, there's also this energy of, with Virgo talking about, we want everything to be crystal clear. We need to get a lot done, and we need to communicate very directly and very clearly what it is that we're doing here and what everyone can commit to and ground themselves in. And you may feel this energy in your relationships or people that you're talking to. There may need to be clarity, what are we? What are we doing in this connection? Where are we at? Where do we stand, right? Is this gonna go further, right? Are we just having a good time? Moon and Jupiter conjunction separating. Are we just having a good time, or is there actually something here? And, there may be some very surprising conversations in surviving very surprising conversations and discussions. And I also think too, even though we have a trine going on, and this is, a positive aspect, I also think Mars Mercury in Virgo can be kind of irritable. And when you have the sun joining that group in a couple of days, it can be, a little bit demanding. Okay. So I think that's something we want to watch out for, but the clarity that we get from either talking to our partners or chatting with people, I do think the clarity is going to bring new revelations. And because also Pluto is involved in this grand trine, you know, at first it may seem like, boy, I don't know if I want to go there or dig that up. But at the end of the day, like, the more you know, right? As that old saying used to say, they used to run that ad in the 80s on TV with like the star going across the screen that says, the more you know, right? Which is so funny when you think about Aquarius is related to the star in tarot, and Virgo is related to, you know, the facts and what we know and what we can count on as already like baked in knowledge. I mean, obviously Virgo goes a lot deeper than that, than in its archetypes, but yeah, there's a lot of communication and there's a lot of energy to finish things and get things done and get to the bottom of things and deal with anything that comes up, okay? And deal with it in an efficient and, you know, very pointed kind of a matter, okay? And that's a shift from the moon Jupiter energy that people are talking about. Yeah, the moon is in conjunction to Jupiter, but I see it as more of a separating aspect at this time. So the moon isn't really making any aspects besides that moon Jupiter conjunction tomorrow, and or it already is in conjunction actually as we speak now. And the other thing that I wanted to say is that at about 6 p.m. Pacific time on the 22nd, the next aspect that the moon is going to be making is, as the moon moves into Pisces later on in the evening on August 22nd, the moon moves into magical, beautiful, you know, crazy, spacey, smoke out, dream, think, all of that moves into that kind of energy. As the moon moves into that energy, the next aspect the moon is going to be making is going to be a square to the North Node in Gemini. So, you know, the North Node is like looking at our higher purpose, our spiritual purpose, why we're here, what we're striving towards in this lifetime. And the moon in Pisces is saying, okay, like, you know, Gemini is the mind, and it also is similar to Virgo energy in the way that Mercury rules both Gemini and Virgo. But with the node, with the moon in Pisces squaring the node, there may be some feelings that are coming up and some distractions. But I also feel like this could be a nice energy too. Yeah, we may not be as as striving as we normally would be, but there's a tendency to get there anyway, just through relaxing and dreaming and creativity, okay? So that's the next aspect that the moon is going to be making, is that square to the North Node in Gemini later on in the evening on the 22nd, okay? So you may find yourself wanting to space out a bit more, or to relax a bit more, or this is, you know, for those of you that like to smoke, you know, smoke out, you know, think, dream, and believe is kind of what I'm feeling. And I'm seeing people like, you know, on Sunday night chilling in there when we have this full moon on Sunday, like chilling in their rooms with their sweetie, like smoking a blunt and looking up, you know, if you had one of those ceilings that has the stars all over it, or the neon stuff in your room, and you're looking up and you're making out and kissing, and you're not really thinking about what comes next. You're just kind of going with the energy, okay? And so Sunday night, as the moon moves into Pisces, and you may get that brief moment, that brief window where you can just chill, okay? Take a chill pill from some of the intense, you know, Virgo energy that we have in the sky right now. Okay, so I think that's everything I wanted to say about what is going on with this full moon. And, you know, if you're wondering, like, well, what should I do on this full moon? And, you know, it's on a Sunday. So for a lot of us, it's at, you know, really early in the morning on Sunday. So you may want to, if you're doing any ritual, you could always do it Sunday evening when the moon is in Pisces. You know, it's okay, because the energy is so there. I feel like this Aquarius moon is just like, you know, it's like one last breath of Aquarius, and then we're in Pisces already. It's like, when do you find the right time to do ritual? Well, the moon will be in Pisces on Sunday evening, but it might be more easy to access your subliminal self in that case. But you may not feel like doing anything. So besides just chilling out and dreaming. But I'm trying to think of when would be the best time to do ritual. If you're gonna do ritual on this full moon, I'm gonna say, like, do it in the morning on Sunday whenever you wake up. If you wake up at 10 a.m. and you miss it, that's fine. You could still do ritual on Sunday morning, okay? You could even do it late Saturday night too, if you're a night owl and you happen to be up, okay? But for those brave souls who want to wake up at 5 a.m. Pacific time to pay homage to the full moon, I know I always like to look at the full moon at night. So even Saturday night, I'm sure the moon is going to be very beautiful and would be an amazing time to speak your intentions, because the moon will be closer to Jupiter on Saturday night versus Sunday, when it's actually like even separating even more, okay? So that is what I am getting for the astrology of this full moon. And I keep wanting to say full moon in Virgo, but it is a full moon in Aquarius, okay? So, I mean, it's just my mind wants to go straight to Virgo, which is funny because there's, like I said, I've been channeling a lot of Virgo energy, and there's a ton of Virgo in the sky right now. So there's about to be more as we, you know, move into Virgo season. So let's go ahead and see what is going on and see from a tarot perspective. Spirits, angels, and guides, please collect me to the collective energy for this full moon in Aquarius, and help me channel what the collective needs to know for Sunday, August 22nd, full moon in Aquarius. What does the collective need to know, Spirit? What does the collective? We have Ace of Pentacles. Okay, so the sun is going straight into Virgo right after this full moon. So it's a time to reset. And of course, we're gonna have the new moon in Virgo, and looking forward to that time, the time to plant the seed. I mean, full moons aren't really a time to plant seeds, but because the sun is moving directly into Virgo right after a couple, you know, like 5-6 hours after this full moon, yeah, Spirit is saying this moon might actually, and because it's in Aquarius, it's got that odd kind of flavor to it. It might actually be a good time to plant your seed, all right? And with the earth energy and the earth trine, the grand earth trine, I feel like is coming through with this Ace of Pentacles, and trines are opportunities. So, you know, what opportunities do you want to manifest? And, you know, what doors do you want to open for you? Because right now, with all this earth in the sky, grand trine earth, like, now's the time. All right, I've been doing 369 mantras, so 3 times in the morning, 6 times in the afternoon, 9 times in the evening, mantras that I wrote. Okay, a way to draw in this beautiful grand trine earth energy, because grand trines are, like I said, beautiful opportunities, and looked at as, you know, like from the heavens, right? Beautiful opportunities from the heavens. So let's go ahead and see what other full moon energy, and staying very grounded as we will with the Ace of Pentacles, not getting overly excited with the buildup and energy in Virgo. So let's see what else here. The Magician, Virgo, Gemini, Mercury. Okay, the Magician is a Mercury card. And no wonder this feels like a Virgo full moon or a Mercury ruled full moon, because yeah, and I'm just getting, I'm too swift on my toes to get caught up with anything, okay? And this is a lot of, you know, the Ace of Pentacles is is like the one energy in the tarot, and the Magician is the one too. So it is a powerful time to put your intentions out there and to speak it into existence. Also with the Magician here, it's a very powerful time for mercurial energy, because Mercury loves being in Virgo too. We've got Mercury in Virgo, which I think Mercury in Virgo is it exalted? Yeah, I think it's exalted in Virgo, because I think it's in its fall in Pisces. Okay, so you know, now's the time to hype up your Mercury energy, and it is a powerful time for manifestation. Okay, a lot of times people say, oh, you shouldn't manifest on a full moon, and I don't really agree. Like I think as magicians we have to, I mean, sure, like that's the prevailing wisdom, but as magicians we have to go with our instincts, you know. And this moon is saying, you know, when you're looking up at the sky and you're looking up at the full moon and you're requesting something or you're wishing for something, go with your instincts. Okay, so this is a full moon to really bring on the powers of Mercury. It's also an amazing time to learn how to do something new. Okay, for those of you that are studying or you're learning to do something new, or you're starting classes or school. I mean, it is that time of year, being the middle of August-ish. And, you know, it's a powerful time to learn something, I feel like, too. And there's downloads and information that's, you know, it's like information overload in the sky, right? So let's go ahead and see what else we can pull for this full moon energy via the tarot. Okay, so we have the Five of Wands and the Five of Cups, and they came out together. And, you know, what I really see this as this irritation that I was talking about, okay, with the Mars Mercury conjunction in Virgo. And while this isn't, you know, part and aspect to this full moon in any way, it is in the sky at the same time as a full moon. And, you know, Jupiter isn't doing as good of a job as kind of covering up these energies, because it's separating, the moon is separating from Jupiter, okay? So there may be this sense of feeling of, ugh, and the bottom falls out, okay? With the Five of Cups, like the good times came to an end. And, you know, you may feel that there is some irritation, like that there's some people that are normally chill with you and normally cool with you, but today they're very snappy. Or even in this last week or early next week, that with all this buildup of Virgo and that especially with Mercury, Mars, and Sun, that there's impatience and, you know, that there's just irritation in the collective, okay? And with this Five of Cups, it's saying, you know, forewarned is forearmed. You may not, you like, don't, you know, try not to wallow in it and just realize that it's a passing. You know, people that maybe have never been irritated with you may be a little bit more easily provoked, is what I'm gonna say. And even in traffic, you know, like during the beginning of Mercury retrogrades too, always pay attention to traffic. And I feel like with Mars, Mercury, and Virgo, there may be some road rage, there may be some irritations out there. So try not to react, okay? And try not to worry too much about it. If there are people that are being kind of irritated with you, I like it because the two fives form a 10. So we have, you know, a 5 and 2 1s essentially here. We have a 10, a 1, and a 1, which if you reduce 10, it becomes a 1, okay? But there might be some, even though we have this stabilizing earth energy and a lot of, you know, a trine with Virgo energy going on right now, there may be some shit talkers, there may be some people that are just more irritated, is what I'm gonna say, okay? So try not to let it bring you down. I'm gonna call you pile number 1. We don't have any piles in this reading. Try not to let it bring you down, okay? And let's see. What else? What else should the collective know about this full moon in Aquarius, please? We have the Empress, okay? And, you know, as I was saying that, I was thinking about the Moon-Jupiter conjunction, because there still is a conjunction, even if it is separating. And, you know, that's the good shit. That's what people are talking about. Like, oh, it's so benefic, it's so wonderful, and it's going to be happy, and it's going to pump our butts full of cheer and happiness and everything too. But I also feel like the Empress is, you know, Venus energy, talking about this grand trine with Taurus involved there too. And, you know, Venus in Libra, like I mentioned, Venus is in Libra right now, and it is forming a supportive trine to Saturn. So let's not forget about, or supportive, not trine, but a supportive sextile to Saturn. So let's not discount that, you know, like Venus is still around us. Love is still around us. Love is still in the air. And I do think later in that evening, when I said when the moon slips into Pisces and is squaring the nodes and things are a bit more chill, I do think it's a nice time to like reconnect, make out, have fun, get it on, if you can, okay? You might be too tired, all right, moon in Pisces, from the day's happenings, but if you can, take some time to enjoy yourself, okay? Take some time to enjoy yourself. And I feel like some people may gorge themselves a little bit food-wise too with the Empress here. With Moon Jupiter, there may be a tendency to kind of like overeat or really like get into the sweets and, you know, eat the whole bag of cookies or whatever it is, especially if you're smoking and not joking on Sunday night when the moon slips into Pisces, okay, or Saturday night. Saturday Night Fever, all right? The Magician always reminds me of, you know, Staying Alive by the Bee Gees, Saturday Night Fever. I do think any discussions that you get into or talk about are going to be very lively and very interesting, fact-filled, and, you know, lively discussions. Just make sure that people don't go too far and get competitive about their opinions and things like that, right? We'll try to mitigate that Five of Wands energy, because, or just, you know, it's all in good fun until somebody really says something that hurts another person or makes fun of them in some way, right? So just watch out for that energy, because that's not cool, okay? Or leave somebody out of the group, things like that. Let's see, what other energies does Spirit want to draw our attention to this bowl? The Queen of Cups. I love that. Okay, so I feel like this is when, you know, the moon is also slipping into Pisces, and then you've got the Moon-Jupiter conjunction here too, and talking about, you know, psychic sensitivity going on as well. And, you know, what's interesting is Neptune is actually opposing it's a wide opposition, but Neptune is opposing Mars and Mercury in Virgo right now too. So in this chart, and yeah, talking about Neptune being very active in that opposition with Pisces and Virgo. And the sensitivity, the body sensitivity is also what I feel like too. I feel like just be careful, like, you know, especially with all the Virgo in the sky, be careful like with what you're eating and what you're ingesting and what you're taking into your body, because I do feel the body is going to be very sensitive, okay? Luckily, we have the Grand Earth Trine, which is going to keep us all grounded and sturdy and all of that, but there could be a tendency to sort of overdo things and go big or go home, like I said before with Jupiter. So just be sensitive with your body and try to drink a lot of water. Try to keep your channels clear and try to stay out of trouble, okay? And try to keep it cool too. Like if you do find that people are acting irritable, try to keep it cool. And I do think that you could have some really nice bonding with your partner, okay? And have a talk about commitment or the future. And I do think, you know, Saturday night or Sunday night, depending, like things could be nice or romantic or making out, etc. And yeah, I do think that with the Queen of Cups and the Empress here. And yeah, so just stay hydrated, mind your business, mind your words, and manifest. This is actually a full moon where you can manifest and ask for what you want, and try not to spend a lot of time in lower vibrational energy. Not that there's anything wrong with it. I'm not one of those people that thinks lower vibration is wow, like the worst thing that you can be in. I mean, we're humans, so we're gonna feel everything, and beating ourselves up over it because we feel something doesn't work. It's a bunch of bullshit too. I hate it when people talk about lower vibration like that. But, you know, try not to get yourself involved in anything that you know is already kind of a shit fest. And try to pull back your energy if possible. And instead, you know, have some good food, enjoy some time with friends. We have Cancer and Libra here. We also have Virgo, Mercury out on the table. So spend some amazing time with the people that you love and care about, and focusing on that aspect of nurturing yourself. And then, you know, saying a prayer for the world as well with the Magician, and working on your spells, okay? Working on your spell work. So let's go ahead and pull a couple of oracle cards too for this full moon for the collective. And for those of you that are in relationships, I do think there could be some really good discussions and some, you know, nice intimacy going on here too. And somebody could really show you that they appreciate you, I feel, as well here with the Queen of Cups and the Empress. And, but I do feel like when you're out running errands or something like that, people could be kind of irritable. So just watch for that in the collective. Try not to get your energy involved. Let's go ahead and see. Let's go ahead and see here what other full moon advice is coming. 666. Oh my God. The horned one, the mark of the beast. Okay, I am centered, and with this grand earth trine, yeah, like, you know, Virgo energy can sometimes make us feel a little bit crazy, especially when there's a lot of it. It's like, oh, overthinking and analyzing and wanting to do everything, get it done now, right, with Mars and Virgo. And this is saying I am centered, okay, with this Empress energy here too. A wake-up call for you to re-examine your current situation and change the direction of your thoughts so you can raise your vibration to a more positive frequency. Okay, definitely. So talking about I am centered, and through this grand earth trine on this full moon, it's a wake-up call to re-examine your current situation and change the direction of your thoughts. The thought process here with so much Mercury, right? And if your thoughts are, even if your own thoughts are just very combative or judgmental, and they're not really bringing you a lot of happiness, this would be the time to think about that and raise your vibration and your frequency. I've been noticing that a lot lately too, like when I have judgmental thoughts a lot about other people, which sometimes just comes because we're human beings, right? Like we're not going to be able to completely stop it. But if we're in like a big, you know, flow with that kind of energy, we can definitely pull back and tap into something a little more centered, okay? Let's get one more here from the angel numbers. One more, please, for the full moon. 3-3, I am expanding. I love that with the Magician and the Empress. Perfect. Okay, and talking about the moon Jupiter conjunction, I am expanding, as I talked about with Jupiter expansion, okay? Any positive changes or projects you are considering right now? Ooh, the Ace of Pentacles and the Magician. Any positive changes or projects that you are considering right now will be well worth your while. Expect that your power to manifest and create will be heightened. Ooh, wow, I love it. This is exactly what I was saying, okay? And 333 is on the bottom of the deck. I am powerful, okay? So let's not forget that we're powered. Let's stay centered. centered in the grand earth trine energy, and with all of this, you know, all the projects and creativity happening right now. And yeah, the power to manifest is on point. Thank you, Spirit. And let's get a couple of these starseed oracles here and see what else would you like to tell us, Spirit? Like final messages regarding this full moon, please. Final, okay. We have intuition. Trust your intuition. Ooh, the Queen of Cups. Trust your intuition. It has been guiding you to the answers that you seek, the Magician. So this Queen of Cups guiding the Empress and the Magician, guiding these aspects of you. So trust your intuition. All right. If you feel like there's something you should work on during this full moon, or something that your attention is being drawn to, then take up the mantle. Let's go ahead and get one more, please. And we have blue star. Okay, follow the light of your inner compass, the blue star. It will lead you to the truth that resides within your soul. All right, and it's the blue moon, right? I talked to you guys at the beginning of this reading about how this Aquarius moon is the second Aquarius moon in Leo season, and we call that a blue moon, or we could say the blue star, okay? So following the light of your inner compass will lead you to the truth that resides within your soul, all right? The Magician and the Empress, of how powerful you are, and that you are expanding as a creator. And that if there are thoughts that are bringing you down, or actions of others, or even within your own self, you're going to examine those and work through that energy and set it aside for this full moon, because it is a powerful time to manifest, okay? And your intuition, the Magician, is connecting you as above, so below. And so, you know, you are being guided right now. So thank you so much, you guys. I hope you can fully take advantage of the energy of the full moon in Aquarius and ground yourself, stay centered, stay balanced, and work on manifestations. Thank you so much, everybody, and take care.